Uh-oh, I don't hear Wes. That's probably a problem. Nope, nobody can hear Wes. That's the way you start a live stream, right?
That's literally what I was saying. I was like,
That is
man, when
it.
you hit go live and you're like, wait a second, I don't think I even got my audio set up right. Oh, what's going on, everybody? I
Is
hope
there an
people...
IT guy in the house somewhere?
Man, it'd be good if there was. We could sure use one. Man, this is going to be so much fun. We've got a multi-hour kickoff right now for Rejection Con. I got 3 people waiting in the wings that are just stellar people that I cannot wait to bring up. And we're going to be talking about what's going on here and the mission behind this thing and all the amazing things happening. So, Alex, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm kind of recovering. Still in the process of recovering from some sinus stuff. So if I sound like a different human, there's some stuff going on. But living the dream, man.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I'm glad. I'm not glad that you're not feeling well. Did I say that right? I'm sad that you don't feel great, but I'm super glad you're with us.
Yeah.
And we need to get you back to health. Maybe we need to switch some Rejection Con funding over to Find Alex's Mystery Illness Fund.
Moving from one state to another and finding new doctors is a regrettable experience. So.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right, so I want to bring a few folks up. We have got, first of all, the one, the only, the Empire and Lord of CompTIA, Wayne Selk himself. How do you like that, my friend?
Nice. Thank you. That was very gracious.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Next up is my good friend Megan Killian. Megan, who's also a speaker at Rejection Con with the coolest headshot and one of the best titles I've ever seen. How are you, Megan?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We're going to go beyond, for the very first time, beyond 4 people. We're going to see if it breaks Crowdcast, or at least it didn't. Awesome. We got the one and only Louis from ScalePad. Louis, my friend, how are you?
Doing really well. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, it's great to see you too, man. Such a fun podcast with you the other day. I think you are one of the best podcast interviewers that I've ever been around, Louis. So maybe we ought to just switch to you leading this whole thing today.
I think you do a fine job, Wes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we're going to get started. Rejection Con is right here around the corner. It starts next Tuesday, December 12, 13, 14. It's all virtual for those of you that have not been aware and hiding under a rock. And there's a bunch of cool things that are going on with it. First of all, the charity, right? Where everything goes over, all your conference proceeds, 100% go to Rural Tech Fund, which we're going to talk about that in a second. But I think we're also going to talk just too about just the awesome content. And because we've got a speaker here, Megan, I'm going to have you in a minute kind of tease out what you're going to be talking about today or next week, which is going to be great. So Wayne, I'm going to go to you, right? Just starting out, as a nonprofit to a nonprofit, what resonates to you about the MSP community, their ability to give, and just how we can band together to pick someone like Rural Tech Fund and just blow this thing up? Give us some thoughts on that.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of folks that are watching probably don't even realize that CompTIA is a not-for-profit, but we also have a nonprofit entity inside of the organization. And from a whole philanthropy side, right? So individuals that are members, we use funding that because we're self-funded, not for profit, but we use some of those revenues that are generated. I think last year we donated over 130,000 to various charities around the world on behalf of the membership. So I think it's amazing. This community is great, right? Everybody loves to give. Not only do they give of their time, they give of their talent, but they also give a lot of their treasure, which is awesome, right? Because that helps other organizations deliver and do good for the community, their communities too, around the world.
I completely agree. And I've loved seeing, just to flip it back to CompTIA for a minute. Boy, I think in the past 3 to 4 years since MJ's leadership and your leadership and others, I've loved seeing where CompTIA has gone as an organization and really truly put their put their name and mission behind being community first, MSP first, and in what they've been doing with us. And you guys have really represented the community well. So thanks to you guys.
Thank you for those kind words. That's really what it is for us, right? MJ included as the chief community officer. One of the things I wanted to bring into CompTIA a couple years ago, after coming from ConnectWise, was that whole community concept, which we had there too, right? And so making sure that we're doing right by the community first and foremost to help everybody be, in my role, be more secure, right, around the world. So.
Love it. I love that. So talk to us about RejectionCon. Let me switch over, Louis, to you. Talk to us about what gets scaled. You guys are a sponsor. Thank you. What gets you guys excited when you saw RejectionCon come up? What kind of resonated to you, Louis?
Well, first of all, I think there's just so much opportunity for learning, and I believe I've been following the Stoics lately, and there's this philosophy around just being a student of life and just being a learner your entire life. And I think if we stop learning, I think we rot and die. And so I think one of the key things that was really motivating for ScalePad to be involved was really just this idea that can we contribute somehow to the learning environment to continue for people. MSPs need to continue evolving, and there's so much changing all the time. So it's just a great opportunity to just be involved in helping people continue on that journey a little bit.
That's awesome, man. We're so glad to have you guys here. Coming from ScalePad and now following on my next venture. When we were building Lifecycle, I used to joke that we were an education company that happened to sell a product, and
Yeah.
it really was kind of how we built our community. So it's just awesome to have you guys here. Super happy to have ScalePad as part of
Yeah,
this.
it's a real pleasure. And listen, I'll sort of jump in with just one more small comment, and I think it's that one of the things we talk a lot about internally at ScalePad is just how much transformation is required. I think in MSPs, generally speaking, from that early stage, 1-person, 3-person shop, to get to sort of wherever you want to go. It could be that you want to stay small, but be profitable and do some great work. And there's a ton of stuff that you have to learn over time and continue transforming your business. And some of these things are big lifts. It's not like an overnight success. You're going to spend a year or more working on some of these things, building consistency into your process and your business. And so education, I think, is one of the key things that keeps you motivated to continue learning, continue adapting those processes and letting your MSP evolve. And so glad to be part of it. Thank you for involving us and letting us participate. I'm looking forward to seeing all the sessions and what we can learn there from everybody that's contributing their time so freely. And that's an awesome community effort for sure.
Luis, you are awesome. And that's a perfect segue over to Megan. So Megan, I think when we first did this whole call for papers, I got to admit, one of the things that's scary is going from, we all have ideas of things we want to try and do. And then you think through like, oh man, there's risk in these ideas and there's a lot of hard work in it. And I remember pushing out the call for papers. And I think you were the very first to submit a talk. And you were within, I feel like it was an hour. I'd have to go back and look, but you just
it was like live on Slack. We were evolving the idea live on Slack, and you were like, look at all these people that have been rejected by other conferences for no good reason. And then you threw something together, and I was like, I'll submit. It's here. Here you go. You can have it.
And you did. And your talk was killer. I'm blown away that it didn't get accepted anywhere. I'd love for you just to share a little bit about, first of all, the name of your talk, and talk to us about the talk itself and what all you're going to be covering.
Yeah, so my session is about ethical marketing for next-gen MSPs. And it's split between really two fundamental pieces of ethical marketing for me, one being like DEI initiatives, and the other half being just transparency, authenticity, honesty. And I launched my agency 3-ish years ago. And at the time, our initial mission was to prove that ethical marketing is as scalable as traditional marketing methods. And we niched down into the MSP space. It's a big part of like where I come from. And through my consulting, I really learned that MSPs are behind the ball on diversity and inclusion internally. And that's not every MSP. But if we look at the 5 of us sitting here, I'm the only woman. And that's not unusual in this space at all. And I don't think that women are any less capable of being techs, of sitting in executive roles. But it tends to be a little bit older of a space. Like most MSPs were started by, one tech guy who was the IT director somewhere, and he left there and he started his own business, and it was just him. And then, maybe he brought on a friend, and then it grew very organically. And when you grow things organically that way, frequently everybody kind of looks like you. And I don't think that there inherently is something wrong with that. But there's a stage of business growth when you have to sit down, look around, and say, why in a 20, 25, 30-person team does everyone look exactly like me? And that's when we have to reflect and make hard choices and sit with ourselves and figure out what the next step looks like. And in my time in this space and in B2B tech in general, I have seen the power of ethics and diversity in being a revenue driver. And it's not just feel good stuff. Like, honestly, like you should behave ethically because it'll help you sleep at night. But also it will drive revenue for your business, especially as we're scaling into a world where millennials are making more business decisions than boomers are. And you have more and more diversity in the overall business space, that we're all in B2B, right? None of us are selling to consumers. As businesses are adopting diversity so much, so must their partners, because people buy from people that they align with. And that all starts by figuring out what you stand for. And if you do that piece, the money follows, really honestly. And like, I look at, I've watched US and you, Alex, and Kyle build Empath together and do that. It's very mission driven. It's very core values focused. And look at the following that you've generated and the people that have jumped on board really enthusiastically. They didn't do that. Like, do you even have a product?
Not quite yet.
Why are we going to talk about that? Like, that's not what we're here to talk about.
But the thing is like, there's still
Megan throwing shade already.
Right.
There's
Right.
so
I can't wait for this talk now.
surrounding you and supporting you and willing to jump on board before the product has even become a thing, because everybody's excited to see what you're going to do, because they know that the vision, the mission, and the core values are there. The money will follow.
Yep.
And I mean, we just hit $10,000 raised for Rural Tech Fund, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's $10,000 that just came out of you guys having a vision, right?
It's so encouraging, right? And this goes right into what you were literally just saying, and literally what you're talking about is, just for folks listening that are like, I don't know what the Rural Tech Fund is. It's a 501c3, and it's run by a good friend of mine who I went to school with. And it's literally about what you just said, is they go into school systems, inner city and rural, and they go in and they say, hey, this whole, like, the world of technology is changing at our fingertips. And unfortunately, schools often don't have the budget. They don't have the time, the resources to be able to invest. And some of these kids have no idea their potential and no idea that technology is for them. And so giving them that exposure, that's one of the best ways we actually can get to better diversity inside of our workplace is really letting kids come in and see for the very first time, this technology stuff is exciting. And I actually do have a pathway, and I could get out of some of the trouble that I'm in. I could get out of the factory or the coal mine or the, maybe even the crime that's around me. And like, I can do something bigger and better. And I'm passionate about that, because I think that's really what this is all about. So it really kind of brings home. So I loved your talk. I really felt like it really hits the mission and mantra of what we're really all about here as a community.
When I saw we were raising money for Rural Tech Fund, I was like, yes, alignment. I love it.
So I have one thing to add, actually. So I did mention CompTIA Spark, right, as our nonprofit. And so, again, you may not know, but we actually acquired Tech Girls a little while ago. And they're doing fabulous things over there. But Spark is actually focused on the middle school kids, right? Getting them all engaged in technology stack. So Wes, it would be, I'd like the name of your friend that started the Rural Fund, because I think if I can connect those two, organizations together, we might be able to help a little bit more there too.
I think we can. I think we should, and I think that'd be super exciting. So yeah. So I did literally just get an update from Chris. Literally just came in a second ago. So we are at $12,000 raised. So we are now $2,000 over the limit, which is the coolest thing. And that's come in from people that have done $20, that have done 10, that have done 25, that have done like Degley 2000, which is above and beyond that anyone ever thought. And we're going to talk about Degley later, just because of what an encouragement he is to me personally as a human
We should have
being.
invited him on here. I mean, here we are going to talk about him behind his back. But
You want to message him real
I'm
quick,
gonna go
Alex,
do
and
that.
see if he
I'm
can
gonna go
jump
see if I can
in?
make that happen.
Okay,
I've
cool.
got another meeting to jump to. It's been a
Yeah,
pleasure.
Megan, thank you
I'll
so
see
much
guys
for
next week.
joining. Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And we're just going to leave this as squares. Luis, you're welcome to stay or jump off. Wayne, same for you. Welcome to stay or jump off. Eric has joined us. Eric Bowles, the one and only from VOSA. Eric, you and I have become good friends over the past year and a half. You've really been really effective for me, just as a framework and way of thinking about, kind of what we're doing in this industry. But you've also been so giving of your time to all kinds of others. The people I've said, you should talk to Eric. You've always made time for them. And you're producing the entire event, which is incredibly awesome. I know how much work I've put on you, my friend. So thank you. You want to just say hi?
It's working out. It's working out really well. It's it's a fairly easy platform to navigate. It's not nearly as complicated as vMix, but the results are pretty impressive. So just talked to some of our premier sponsors, and they're pretty excited about it. And yeah, I couldn't be more excited about this event and what it's all about and why it exists. I think it's just it's no secret to anybody in the industry that big conferences, pick your flavor, are more or less, not exclusively, but essentially pay for play, right? Like if you want to speak there, you're going to pay. And if I'm going to pay, it's going to be a sales pitch. So as an attendee, when you go, you are essentially buying a ticket for $1,000 to be pitched to, right? It's not like you're going now. Obviously, there's some conferences emerging like MSP Community Minds and a few others that are changing that. But so we end up missing a lot of really good talks because they get rejected because they can't pay to be there. And it's not that they wouldn't be invited, but if there's a sponsoring speaker spot, that's going to take precedent over whatever this is. So these talks that are just adding value, they're not sales pitches. They're really about what this community is all about and what it needs to be all about, which is don't make me a better customer, make me a better business, make me a better operator. That's what these talks are all about. And that's what I'm, getting that voice that you couldn't get at a big conference, doing it virtually where people don't have to fly in and drink with Mark Menzies and all the other stuff. Right. It's like I think it's super special that it's hyper focused on, you have to have had a talk rejected somewhere in order to be part of this.
And I'll tell you, Eric, it's such a scary thing for me when we first started doing this, because we just mentioned this right before you joined Megan. She was the very first that pushed a talk out, and that was exciting because when they did that, I was just very, very. You just get nervous. Like, what kind of talks are you going to get? Is this going to be like, really like a snooze fest? And we'll show the agenda here in a minute, but your litmus test was true. You were correct, Eric, in that 0% of talks that are paid for are rejected. A whole bunch of really great talks that are created for the good of the community get rejected. And I'm not hating on anybody. I get it. There's only so much space. Even at RejectionCon, we only have room for so many. We were fortunately able to make this thing work, but it's hard. It's so hard to get all of us in. So yeah, and seeing the talks come to life is exciting.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I get it. For again, pick your flavor of big, huge conference. They have a board of directors, they have investors, they have shareholders. They want to see the profit go up, not the profit go down. When you can get people to talk to pay to be on stage to pitch, I think that's a win. And I think we're in this super exciting time, and I think this will resonate well with Wayne, given what he does at CompTIA, is that your MSP, your products, the services you offer are now a commodity. I can get them anywhere. I can go direct to Microsoft. You and I talked about this, Wes. There's 40,000, thank you to CompTIA's research, there's 40,000 MSPs in the United States. 11% growth year over year is 4,500. So we'll be at 45,000 by the end of the year, 2024. If you take 83% of all businesses of 5 employees or more take up the metro areas that make up 160,000 square miles. There's an MSP within 2.5 miles of you. I can find somebody else to do this for me. They've got they've got trained techs. They're all Azure certified. They're this or that. They can all sell the exact same stuff that you sell, either through Ingram or through Pax8 or whatever. What this boils down to is care about me. Show me that you want me to be a better business, not just a better invoice. And that's where that's what's so exciting about this right now, is that, CompTIA is leading community. There's so many different entities out there now that are all really pushing community. Empath is leading with community. And then the stuff that has added on the back, that's awesome, but it's leading with community and how we all help each other move forward, which is really interesting, because any of us that are old on here, that'd be me and Wayne, I think you guys might qualify. I'm not real sure. Like, you think about the old days of IT, and working together with somebody, and you'd walk up and be like, hey man, what are you working on? It's what I call IT basketball. They would box you out and be like, what do you mean, what am I working on? Like, people were so defensive, even in your own company. I have a theory that IT people only know 10% of what they claim that they actually know, and they're afraid that if they get too close to somebody else, the 10% will overlap somewhere and they'll get called out on the 90% that they don't know, so they blocked everybody else out. Now we're in this world where everybody's helping each other. We're moving all together. Matt Lee, rising tide raises all ships.
Yep.
And I think that's what's so great about this, and what CompTIA is doing, and what Empath is doing, and everybody else is doing, is that we are truly raising the tide of not only us that we all know about, but think about the thousands and thousands of MSPs where the guy was like, I'm a break fix dude, or I'm a break fix girl, and I left my tech company as a break fix person to start my own company, and nobody told me or showed me the fine print that said, now I get to be sales, HR, finance, biz dev, operations, all the other crap that comes along with a business. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, I did not sign up for this. I am not qualified for this. Those are the people that literally are like, they're like waking up the next morning and going, so do I get a job? Am I going to lose my mortgage? Like, it's a scary, scary place to be. And all of this together, RejectionCon, Empath, all of these people together, we're going to help elevate those ones, the smaller ones that really, really need the help, and make them the MSPs that can go out and change this tide, and really give the bigger MSPs a run for their money.
Well
To
said.
Eric's point, like, when you're that small MSP, it is lonely going into the office every day as the sole owner with not much of a leadership team, because you are a small MSP, and not having that formal training and management and all those things. You're right, man. It's a lonely, scary place. And it's the value of the community. And I learned this first in the ConnectWise local user groups. And just the community that you pick up there, and the friends that you make, and the colleagues that can help support you, and answer that thing that you don't know, that's out of your bounds. There's just an insane amount of value in that, and the fact that we can bring people together, kind of lift everybody up, is just super exciting.
Yeah, it's and it's I will quote John Street from Pax8 here, where he said, if you ever want to know what true manic depression is like, start a company. Because some days
boy.
are freaking awesome, and some days you're like, oh God, I'm gonna throw up. I know I'm gonna throw up, like, because it just changes, right?
Yep. I remember living those days in the early perch days, and things weren't working out well. And I would hit the end of the day, and I went through 8 calls in 8 hours, and literally no one was interested in anything we were talking about. And I just remember ending those dark days thinking, we're going to fail. We have about a month and a half left of funding. We're going to fail. This is not working. And I can't believe I left this job, and I left what I was comfortable with to do this. Then you fast forward, and that elation and dopamine that comes when you finally make this thing work it's like nothing else on earth. So yeah, and there's just never a guarantee. I know this is not really the topic today, but it's a fun one. There's never a guarantee that anything you do in the future is going to succeed, right? And that's the scary part. I mean, I guess to pull this back to RejectionCon, that's the only reason I almost didn't pull the trigger. Dustin Bolander is really the true person who thought of this thing and pushed me to do this. And I remember thinking, I almost didn't do it because this thing could legitimately fail, and I'd become the laughing stock of everybody, right? And that's the thing that keeps you up at night. It's really hard. But I guess when you trust and you see who the community is and the folks that are around you that all band together, that really shows that we are becoming an industry that I think I'm proud of, and I'm proud of the people that are in it and what we're doing and building together.
Well, what I can say is I know you're not that embarrassable because you made that rap video.
You made that rap video.
It's
We
so
all saw
bad.
it. We all
It's
saw
so bad.
It is
So
it is
amazingly
bad.
bad.
I'm super proud of you, by the way. I'm so proud of you for doing that.
I laugh
'Cause
at you
that-
for the video. I won't laugh at you for Rejection Con.
Yeah. But to your point, right? It's like I can go to one of the big conferences as a small one-man shop, MSP, whatever, and I can hear about, Huntress or this or that or whatever, and they're talking about minimum seat counts, and I'm like, I don't even like I have like 3 customers. I have a restaurant and a Dairy Queen and something else and a hairdresser. How do I move forward? That's what some of these talks at Rejection Con are about, is that this isn't about product. This is about process.
Right.
And it's not just the mechanics of it either. So there's some of it that's mechanics, how do you exit your MSP? But there's other stuff that's like, how do I look at wealth planning? How do I look at succession planning? How do I think about how I touch my customers? All those kinds of things. And, it just reminded me of when I was at a former company as a in the marketing technology role, and somebody was like, why in the hell would I join CompTIA? Like, I don't need any certifications with what I do. And I said, then you don't understand what CompTIA is.
Right.
I was like, CompTIA has A+, Security Plus, and all that. You're right. And I was like, but you don't understand what CompTIA does. I was like, it's way more than that. And we started talking about it, and they're like, oh, I should sign up for that. And I was like, yeah, you probably should. It would benefit.
Wayne, talk about that a little bit more. Like, what are some of the big things that MSPs ought to know about CompTIA that you feel like they probably don't?
Well, first of all, I don't think folks, and I get this all the time when I'm at events, trade shows, whatever, right? Nobody realizes CompTIA is a trade association, 501c6 here in the U.S., right? Trade association, not for profit. For self-funded, thankfully, not for profit through those certifications Eric just mentioned, in most cases, right? And really, it's about helping to grow the technology industry as a whole, right? It's not just about cybersecurity. It's not just about information technology. There's a lot of different aspects today around technology that we're probably on the pulse of as the trade association. So the membership itself is ridiculously low for all the benefits that you get for CompTIA. So it's anyway.
It's sort of those. So tell me again why you didn't join this thing, because it certainly wasn't money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, Wes, I need to drop.
Eric,
Caitlin and Matt, very, very nice to see you.
Thank you for coming, my friend.
I have a live production next week of a thing where all these people are speaking that got rejected elsewhere that I still got to build out. So, and I'm about halfway there. So I'm going to go finish building out that.
Eric, thank you, my friend. I can't thank you enough for what you're doing and producing the event. Thank you.
Absolutely, you guys. Talk to you guys soon. Enjoy the live stream.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Guys, I'm going to drop too.
Wayne, thanks.
Another commitment. Hey, I appreciate
for
you
hanging
having
out.
me, Wes.
Yeah.
Alex, great seeing you. Matt, good seeing you too, sir.
Good seeing you. Yeah.
Hi, it's nice to see you again.
All right. You all have fun. Happy holidays if I don't talk to you.
Happy holidays to you
You too, Wayne. Bye.
So we are also joined by the one and only Caitlin and Matt from Channel Program. Y'all want to say hi?
Hi.
Yeah. Hello.
Man, it's great to have you both on. Thanks for being sponsors with this event, and thank you for helping promote it and getting it out there. Man, it really meant a lot to us to see you guys jump in and do all the help you guys have done. So talk to us a little bit about what's going on in Channel Program right now.
Oh man,
I'll let
what
Matt
isn't
take
going
that
on? Yeah, I mean, just kind of high level, just in case people have not heard of Channel Program. I mean, we've built out a platform. It's free to MSPs. It's a free resource. The vendors pay the bills. That's the number one question we'll get asked if I say that free. And so we've built a platform that allows MSPs to evaluate their technology stack, do research on emerging technologies. A lot of it has to do with peer validation and product reviews. We've got over 4,200 product reviews in the platform. And then most recently, we built out something called Navistack, and it's really the first ever vendor management tool that allows MSPs to visualize their stack for the first time ever, identify gaps in their stack, communicate with multiple vendors in a single place, and access partner materials, vendor documents, again, in a single place. So really kind of our mission statement on the MSP side of things is just making the lives of MSPs easier, because managing God knows how, 30, 40 vendors is
Sometimes more than that. Yeah.
Alex, you were an MSP yourself. It's damn hard.
It is a lot of work, and it's we don't have a Rolodex on our desk anymore, right? But it takes a lot, and especially in the world of these vendors that we deal with, right? They're just like anybody else. People come there, they work for a little while, they move on, and then we've got, hey, who's my account manager today? How do I get back in touch with my vendor? So I really love that, and you and I talked briefly just this week down at the GrowCon event about all the things you're doing, and couldn't be more excited, especially about those vendor communications all in one place.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good.
I've been known to beat a person up about nobody needs another portal to log into, and two of those people are on this call. But if you can at least reduce the number of portals I have to touch, life is better, right?
Well, that was what I said to you. I said if I can cut out 15 of the portals, then
that's the same as not giving me a new one. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that being said, I think it's been enlightening for me to see, because I can see the statistics coming in from a lot of the MSPs that are using Navistack, is just like some of that data that's coming back from the vendors that they are using in the space, how much overlap there truly is, how much MSPs are still experiencing gaps in their business. So it's been really powerful for us, I think. And I'm excited to see where it goes in 2024 for sure.
That's awesome.
I love that. Well, thanks for joining us both today, and want you guys to stick around as we chat. We also had the one and only Degly Mendez join us. Degly, how are you?
I feel like we're being blessed by a channel celebrity at the moment.
Right?
We're going to call him Saint Degly from now on.
And everything.
Am I getting my 15 minutes of fame or 15 seconds?
You've had that long before, my friend, and it continues now. So yeah, how are you today?
I'm doing well. It's Friday, end of the week, so.
Isn't that great? I know. I'm looking forward to that. So Degly, we have a lot to thank you for. Let me, just for those that are watching, that are not aware of what happened in the background. Here we are. Let me just set the stage for a minute. Here we are. I'm watching when we were talking about this before with the last guest that we're on, is like doing an event is a scary thing. Matt, you know this as well as anyone. It's scary. You don't know, is this going to work? Is this going to take off? What's going to happen with it? So we've been promoting and getting RejectionCon going for quite some time. And a few folks have trickled in and put in $50 to register, but it's like 30 at the time, right? And I'm getting worried. And I mean, Alex will tell you, there are just days I'm not sleeping well just because I'm worried of this whole thing. And I saw that you had registered, Degly, and I was really excited about that. And then later, probably a week went by, and I don't have any insight into who is giving what in Reject. Well, I do now, but I didn't initially, because the Stripe integration goes directly to Rural Tech Fund. It just, all the money goes directly to them, bypass the middleman. So I had no idea what you had done. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, Chris Sanders, the CEO at Rural Tech Con, responds back and writes me an email. I was like, hey, everything's picking up. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you just had a huge donor. I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, who? He goes, somebody named Degly. I'm like, Degly Mendez? He was like, yeah, I saw him join. He goes, he gave $2,000 to this thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? And Degly, it made my day. And not only did it make my day, no one asked you to do that. You didn't ask for any fanfare. You didn't ever come to me like, Wes, did you see what I did? None of that. You just went on by your day for multiple days until, like, that's the kind of person you are, Degly, is just someone that gives back. It's like, I'm just giving to give. And that means a lot. And Alex and I were talking, and Alex, I'd love for you just to share a little bit about how that whole like RejectionCon challenge came out of what Degly did. And then I'm going to show Degly, I don't think you've seen this yet. I'm going to share my screen and show you something that you've sort of kicked off into motion.
Yeah, so we decided to go out and challenge some of our MSP brethren to really man up and do entire MSP sponsorships and get out there, and instead of buying, having a tech buy a ticket and a person buy a ticket over here and over there, to just drop $500 in the Rural Tech Fund basket, and we'd let them bring their whole MSP to the conference. So we got quite a few of those after a little challenge went out. But Degly sure dropped the lit the fire for that one, I'll say. So it was really good to have somebody really step up and start that off. It actually happened behind the scenes, and we didn't even know it at the time. So that was what was important to me, was that it happened without any of us knowing about it, and in the dark. And I like to just bring those things out and kind of show it off and talk about it. So this was our opportunity to say thank you to somebody who did something really amazing for our cause.
No, you're very welcome. And one of the things that actually, if I had more money, I would give lots of money. I truly.
We know what MSP profit margins are. You did great.
And when you guys came about this idea, and when you guys said that 100% of this, the proceeds were gonna go to the rural fund, that was a no-brainer for me. Even if 80% was going to the rural fund technology, and 20% for the event, that would still be a no-brainer for me, because I think I posted something along these lines last week. We have all been helped in one way or another throughout our careers, throughout our journey, and this is a way for me to pay it forward. And what a great way! There's no greater way of helping a kid who has no access to good education or to good technology, and to create those, to carve that future, a better future for kids. It's it really drives me, and I think there's no question that we should do more whenever we can. Not only for kids and other causes, but for everyone who needs help. Whether it's just a simple advice, or a simple hand to help them with something, but anything. If we can pay it forward.
It's well said, brother. With this season of giving coming along, the holidays are upon us, and those are things that we think about. We think that, let's be honest, all 5 of us in this live stream today, and probably everyone listening, would say, I'm probably more blessed than I've ever blessed others, right? Like, we all feel that. Mm-hmm. And we all realize that there's been people that have blessed us in ways that, have pushed us into the career and the success that we have had today. All 5 of us in the live stream, I think, would agree with that. And I think you're right. We can do more, and we should do more. And that's, I think, just why you were so encouraging. And I want to show you something, Degley, that we made. So on RejectionCon's website now, we have this new thing. I want you to see this. It's RejectionCon.com/challenge. And folks can take a look at this and kind of what this whole thing is about. We were just talking about how, people are giving. This whole thing goes to charity. It's why we're doing this mission. And of course, celebrating and giving everyone a voice too, right? And then it kind of just talked about something amazing happened. This guy named Degley, which that's the coolest picture ever, comes around and gives $2,000. And we were just blown away. And what happened, Degley, I want to show this to you. Here are all the other people that also took up your challenge. I want to just kind of name them on top of you, Degley. Ian Richardson, Bob Miller, Dustin Bolander, Sean Torres, Jason Slagle. Oops, the names didn't show up on that one. I have to fix that one. But you got Robert Chiaffi, Adam Slutskin, David Bellini, you got Tom. And these 3 just came in today. David Wyatt. Oh, that's why I've got a copy pasta error. That's what's going on there. So, but Tom Wyatt and Marissa Maldonado from Proda. Those are the folks that have all said, we're going to take that challenge too. We're going to do this, and we're going to give above and beyond, more than we need to, more than maybe, others might, because we feel like we've been blessed. And so, Degley, thank you for just taking that leadership. Thank you for just doing what you knew is right. And thank you for inspiring others to do the same thing. It's just what this is all about.
No. And thank you guys for doing this, because, again, you're doing, and I just posted this, on one of your feeds. You're not only doing this to give a voice to those who have been shot, right? But more importantly, you're doing it for this amazing work that Rural Fund is doing, and that's the most important thing, and that's what we should be thankful for. to you guys and the Rural Fund Technology folks.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate that. We're excited to see where this goes. One thing, Matt, I want to chat with you about this a little bit. I mean, it's exciting to kind of see, this is not the only charity event that the community has done. We saw the big beard shave last year with, Matt Lee and Ian and a ton of other folks that put that thing together. But really, Matt and Caitlin, this is part of who our community is, isn't it? Bootstrap folks that are just doing awesome things together and saying, we will make the world a better place around us. And there's a lot of ways that we can do it. There's a lot of room for creativity around that, isn't there?
It was
Yeah,
funny.
it's funny. I think you're going to tell the same story.
Are you going to talk about cabbage?
I mean, we haven't officially launched it, but yeah, I mean, we were doing this. It's a giveaway for MSPs called Holidays, and it's just a bunch of vendors giving away $500 gifts and things like that to MSPs who work hard all year. And I asked a trivia question about pigs in a blanket, and traditionally a pig in a blanket is usually in like a croissant roll or some phyllo dough, something like that. And somebody wrote, well, what about putting it in cabbage? Because he's like, I love it in cabbage. And so it became this running joke because I don't know, I'm sure there's people who like cabbage. I'm not one of them. And backstage, like after the event, after this entire conversation around cabbage happened, Caitlin decided, why don't you say, I'll hand it over to you, Caitlin, on an initiative you decided from this cabbage thread.
Yeah, so the premise of Holidays is that MSPs do work hard, and we've been running this campaign to give gifts to them. But I ended up joking around with a few of the vendors that had participated and saw yesterday's live stream around the cabbage situation. And I think next year we're going to do a random cabbage day where we give away $500 worth of cabbage. But instead of it actually being cabbage, we'll donate it to the winner's charity or food bank of their choice around the holidays. So I think that'll be a fun way that some of the vendors can participate in and give back. We do have a few vendors that have participated in the campaign that have gone above the required $500 give back and have donated to Toys for Tots was Cloud Radial did this year. And then last year, I think one of the vendors matched $500 to a charity of their choice too. So I'm kind of glad to see that the industry is taking more of that give back stance. It's been fun.
That's pretty awesome, because after the beard shave, we tried to figure out what to do next, and we talked about a blood drive, but we decided that at IT Nation nobody was in any condition to have blood drawn. So we have to figure out how to do our charitable giving in a way that really works in this channel, right?
Yeah. So poor Scott, though, we're gonna have to put it in Scott's name, the cabbage day next year. But I hope that everybody can find a way to do this, not just around the holidays though too, because it is just so important all year round. But
yep, I love it. I love the creativity, and I love the. It just goes right what we were saying. There's so many ways that I think we all can get creative and have fun. And make the world a better place at the same time. The two should go hand in hand, right? I think that's what humankind has been built to do. And so I love that. I thank you both for joining. Thank you both for promoting. Yep. Thank you both for just helping get the word out. This is what the community is all about. Just deeply thankful to all of y'all folks at Channel Program for just stepping in and seeing the mission and joining up with us.
Awesome.
For sure. Thanks for having us. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thanks. So we're also joined by the one and only Ray Orsini. Ray, you've been a giver as much as anyone I ever know in the industry. How the heck are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How you guys doing?
Making it.
I'm a little jealous right now. I don't have a no IT VoIP GI Joe shirt. And,
I got
that hurts me a little. Yeah,
but you do have a not Wes Spencer shirt.
I do. I've been asked not to wear it as often as I'd like.
Yeah, you should never wear that.
We'll do a trade at the next event at Write a Boom or something.
I got you.
So
cracks me up. Ray, what's been going on in your world?
About to take a couple weeks off, focusing on mental health and taking care of myself. And as ridiculous as this sounds, we implemented unlimited PTO a few months back, and it was brought up to me that I'm not as much as we impress upon the employees, upon the staff to take time off as much as possible. If leadership doesn't show us doing the same thing, it kind of doesn't, it's really just words. So I'm doing what I tell them to do. Speaking of, what's up, David? How you doing, dude? What's up, dude?
Hey, I'm good.
So I'm taking some time off and that way I can enjoy Rejection Con as like, just a watcher and
Good.
enjoy it.
I love
Look
it.
forward to it.
I love it. Just a consumer, brother. It's
Yes.
sometimes it's good to do that,
It is fun. I was looking through some of the speakers. I was just on MSP Community Live with Kyle Spooner, who was speaking with Mendy. And we were just talking about the talks and stuff coming up on Rejection Con this week or next week. And when I was doing dispatch with Slagle, we were talking about how we didn't submit talks specifically because I want to see everybody else. Like, I've heard my own voice enough. I want to see everybody else. Speaking of Spooner, there he is.
Say the word Spooner, and all of a sudden he shows up.
Right? He's like Beetlejuice. Spoonie, Spoonie, Spoonie. So.
No, I love it. Well, I'm glad you're taking a break for yourself, Ray, and glad you're jumping in. And just first of all, thank you for the work that M&M has done, helping us get the word out. That's been awesome. And you just how you've jumped in and seen the mission too. Thank you very much for that. And I was just going to share quickly as we got folks joining. Hey, there you are, Kyle. Here's the actual agenda. If folks want to jump in and see this bad boy. Some really great stuff. Just go to RejectionCon.com, click on agenda, and you can see all. You can also download it too. But some really great talks that are coming in that I'm super excited about. By the way, this is a last minute edition. I added Danielle from CyberFox in with Chris, not because Danielle paid or anything. There's nothing like that. She used to be a teacher, and when I was talking to her about Rural Tech Fund, she's almost moved to tears. She's like, that is the coolest thing. She's like, I had no idea about the actual mission behind who you're supporting. She's like, I can tell you firsthand as a teacher in inner city, just how powerful it is. I'm like, would you like to come and join and just help interview Chris? And she's like, of course, I'd love to. So you can just kind of scroll through here and see some really, really great talks that are coming up. I'm just passionate about it with this. We were mentioning this earlier, Ray, is just that it's a scary thing when you push one of these things out, knowing that they're rejected talks. It's like, are these going to be terrible? I mean, were they rejected for a reason? And then all of a sudden they come out and they're great.
I look at this and I look at like Natalie's session of PRR 101 lesson in IT crisis communications.
Yeah.
And I look at like how many tabletops have been given out from the likes of you, from Huntress, from Ninja, and how many, all people supporting Rejection Con. And the comms part of it is so complex on its own, right? So I love that that's being addressed. I don't normally see that at other conferences. Like they say, well, how to handle the technical side, how to handle your staff, thanks to Robert Chaffee, how to handle like the staff pressure, right? Like he's talked about that. But the actual comm side of it, I haven't seen covered anywhere. So I love to see that.
That's because it's a rejected talk.
Exactly. And who in their right mind
Everybody had the chance. Everybody had the chance. I don't know who would reject that. There's a lot of them on here, though, that we look at and just say, this is a talk I want to hear. I'm not sure how it wound up in this bucket. And then when you go look at all the conferences, you realize like they get 100 submissions and they have 30 spots. They get 50 submissions and they have 15 spots. Like there is a real problem. And Kyle's over here shaking his head because he went through this with MSP GeekCon, right? But you get a ton of submissions and you have to decide what makes the cut. And sometimes those are not easy decisions. Yeah, Kyle, you want to talk to us about that?
Sure. I think for MSP GeekCon last year, I'm actually looking up the numbers where we're sitting at now. By the way, MSP GeekCon's available after RejectionCon.
That's right. Get in on that too.
We're sitting at 42 talks that have been submitted for our conference for May of 2024, and we only have 24 spots. Something's got to give there. I think we had end up with like 60 something for 18 slots last year.
What I hear is that RejectionCon is going to be bigger next year.
And it's hard. It's hard because you don't a lot of these times you want to do like a blind selection. You just want to read what's given to you. You don't want to see who's given the talk. You want to just look at what's there as what's provided to you and see if that fits what you're trying to do as a conference. And that is hard to be able to make your decision off that hardly any information, because like if Alex is, and if it's the same talk given by Alex and Wes, right? No offense, Alex, but I'm probably going to pick Wes if it's the exact same abstract, right?
Yeah, you want to hear Wes give the QBR talk?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. That removes that name bias, but you can't pick. Like I don't envy our education team. Luckily, I'm not on that. I put that responsibility on someone else. But going back and looking through like my talk that I submitted, I know why it was rejected because my abstract is garbage. My title is bad. It doesn't convey what I was trying to speak about. And Mindy and I were discussing this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's my fault. But, you know, having a talk rejected hurts as an individual because, you know, you want to provide that education. You want to provide that opportunity to teach others. And when you look back and you see some of these great speakers that get rejected, you feel a little bit better because you've seen them speak, and it's like, you know, okay, well, maybe there's another reason why I didn't get selected, right?
That's right. That's right. David, it's good to see you on too. I want to make sure we said hi to you.
Thanks. Hello.
Thanks for joining.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I've never submitted a talk. And so I think it's because I'm afraid of rejection. And the fact that you guys are doing this is just amazing to me. Maybe, you know, I'll submit something in the future, but you know, until then, I'm still going to sit here in my corner.
MSP GeekCon's request for speakers is open until January 31st.
Get on it. Get on
I
it.
think I have a deeply hidden hope, and I'm going to share it with everybody now, and it's going to change. It's going to change. The next talks you get are going to be amazing. I have this hope that everybody will start to submit the talks that they were sure would never get accepted anywhere.
Ooh.
The ones that are just too spicy that nobody ever wanted to hear, so that next year at RejectionCon we have some really good ones.
I have an example of that. I won't name that person's name since I don't have permission, but I reached out and said, hey, do you have a talk? I'd love for you to submit one. This is back when I only had maybe 5 or 6 people submitting talks. I'm like, this thing is going to be terrible and it's going to be horrible. No one's going to like this. And he said, actually, no, I don't. I've never had a talk suggested. He goes, but I can give you one. And his talk was awesome. It was sort of this idea of like deconstructing cybersecurity against sort of the zeitgeist. And you know, the whole thing he has in mind is sort of like there's a way that you're being told to build cybersecurity, and it's all told by the folks that are at the very top of the food chain that want you to bundle everything with them. And he said there's a much better way I think MSPs can approach this. It's agnostic. Maybe you do select some of that. He's like, I'm not against it, but there's probably a better way to think about it. He goes, but I've never bothered to submit the talk because no one's going to ever let that talk in, ever. And I'm like, He goes, so now I have ammunition to submit anything I want, as spicy as I want, knowing I'll have a platform elsewhere. And as long as it's in good taste, you know, the RejectionCon, that's the literal only reason we'll reject you from RejectionCon is bad taste, right? So I'm excited about that. I want to see that happen next year.
And to Alex's point, I mean, like, that's a big deal. We've all been there. I would think all 6 of us have been at that point of like, nobody would want to hear this. Like, why would you submit? It doesn't matter. Like, I'm looking at these rejected, like, all going down the agenda. I'm like, I would have sat in every one of these sessions.
Yeah, these aren't even the spicy ones, right? The ones that we got this year aren't even, you know, folks who were throwing something out there just to see if they could sneak it under the radar.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think my favorite one is Josh Ether's F Fault and Blame. You know, and that's fantastic. And submit what you can. Submit whatever you have. Don't be afraid. Submit them to MSP GeekCon. At worst case, you'll have you'll have your ammunition for RejectionCon next year.
I will say though, if you submit a spicy talk, because of our focus on education and our focus on information and providing that, it has a chance of getting selected. So if you go in, just be prepared that it may get selected if we feel like it's a good enough talk. So
Dope.
Bringing the heat.
I love it. Dean, what's going on in your world, man?
Not much. How you doing?
Good. You also are a speaker. What gets you excited about RejectionCon?
So I started as an MSP in the conference side of things about a decade ago. And what I noticed was as the industry grew up, the talking heads grew with them. So when I got into the industry, you know, seeing like it was a normal thing to see Paul Dipple or Gary Pica on stage and a small, 50 people in the room at ConnectWise or something. And I noticed ConnectWise shifted their focus. So at that time, you'd go and you'd get middle management coaching, which really appealed to me because that's who I was. And now you go to an IT Nation or a show like that, and it's all M&A, it's exit strategy, it's the other end of the maturity cycle, and they've completely cut out, the beginning and the middle. And so I've been submitting talks for years about the beginning and the middle that ConnectWise has kept rejecting, even though it seems like every year I end up getting up in a round table and talking about a basic concept. And it was actually MSP GeekCon last year that inspired me. I'm like, there's an audience for this. Like, there's a whole bunch of like newer, younger MSPs. They're not obsessed with the old talking heads. They don't know what to do. They don't know basics, and they need help. And so you guys had this awesome opportunity to submit, really a pretty basic conversation just around accountability and metrics and why that'll make staff happy and efficient, which is a super basic concept, but I'm really excited.
Yep. I was wondering who this anonymous octopus is. Now we know. I should just guess that it was you
when it was the poop. I mean,
he's gonna be the only one who hides himself when he comes on to a link that not everyone has access to.
Right?
We did this at CompTIA too. We had a shared workbook, and he kept like putting people in.
Yeah,
And
we were
like, "Oh, it's
volunteering
cheap."
people for things, and I just kept putting people's names in. Like Tony Thomas was volunteered for whatever it was. I forget what it was. Mentoring. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. How are you, Jason?
I'm good. Did you find my other gift in the sheet?
I see the arrow now. I'm gonna go look. I saw that. Here, let's share this out, just so folks know what it is we're talking about here. My idea was, you know what? I'll just do just an open Google spreadsheet and send out to a bunch of friends. Like, hey, if you can join for today's RejectionCon-a-Thon, go ahead and do so. And I'm going to show out if I can find it. There it is. So I just made a Google sheet right here, and of course, someone starts doing little letter cell by cell by cell images, and I'm like, what are they starting to spell? And then as we go down a little bit, that's great.
That's quality designs right there.
Yeah.
That is the extent of my artistic skills.
Also,
in fairness, I blame Spooner for all of that. So,
I'll take the blame. I just want to point out that the person who did that is the president of his own company and took time out of his day in a Google worksheet.
he's really good at delegation. Yeah.
So be fair, I was on the CompTIA emergency response planning meeting while we were doing it. So I was just multitasking.
That makes sense. That adds up.
Fair.
Oh, that's
you just missed Dean talking about how mature we're getting as a community.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that said poop. They didn't say anything else. That was absolutely mature.
Yeah. I mean, if we take ourselves too seriously, then we become the enemy.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. The only question I have about RejectionCon though is how do we have the after event shenanigans, right? Like how do we? I figure we have to plan that somehow.
You know what?
Isn't there a tech bar?
There is a tech bar next Thursday. Yes.
Will you give me the info and I'll just tag it at the end of the event of come join us at the end. That'd be great.
Actually, Megan Killian, one of your speakers in the chat right now, is on the tech bar. She's our guest.
Oh, great.
So that's perfect.
Well, I could fill up a Zoom room if we need, but
yeah,
I gotta go to the tech bar.
There we go.
Biggest after party ever. Yeah.
So everybody order a little at-home breathalyzer on Amazon, and then we can all blow in our numbers.
I have a bunch of them.
You have a bunch of them.
My last working day of the year.
I think we need to unpack that.
I'm just saying that could be really bad shenanigans. Another closet situation. Speaking of tech bar guests and Twitter host, good timing, Dave.
What did I walk into?
Chaos.
You never know.
Question. Yeah.
Clearly bad timing. Bad timing.
The main gist is talking Rejection Con, but it's fun to go off on lots of rabbit trails here and there for sure. Including words that people add into spreadsheets, as we as luck would have it with everything being open. Dave, how are you?
Oh, good. Just finishing up today's episode, working on stuff for year end. I've got a distributor piece coming for year end. I've interviewed most of the major distributors about their projections for the future. So a piece I'm working on for later in the year.
Can you give us a bit of a hint on something without dropping too much?
Well, I'll tell you where the premise started is one of my Patreon supporters came to me and said, Dave, what do you think of the future of distribution is? And so, all right, I'm up for a challenge and I sit down to write the piece and think about an editorial. And man, I just stared at a blank piece of paper and I had no idea what I was going to write. And I decided, I was like, you know what? I don't know enough. I clearly don't know enough. Don't understand the topic. And so I interviewed the heads of distribution, like across the channel, major ones that and I sort of asked them the question, hey, what is it? And that's the piece. So it's kind of boiling down 5 or 6 interviews into a piece about talking about where they think distribution is going. And then I'm going to bounce off of that and say, okay, based on learning from these guys, here's where I think it's going.
Got it. Very cool. Well, I would love to check that out when it comes out because I am interested in that, and I think we're all interested. I feel like the entire channel is on a bit of a precipice of like, what is the future going to become for us? What is it looking like? I think the traditional style of what we look at as managed service is certainly going to be changing. So, oh my goodness, look who's coming in now! I had no idea that Restream could have this many people. Let's just keep the party going.
We'll see where it brings.
What's up,
everybody? Can we do a little bit of beard math though? I think the numbers
No.
are off the charts right now. Holy
That's
smokes.
not fair. I can't physically grow one.
I think Matt and Jason are still
You're a
winning.
quitter.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Quitter.
I think
This
I
right
think Matt
here
and
is a
Jason
year's worth of
sneezed,
growth.
and it came
Super
right back
super
out.
glue and offcuts.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
I love
Oh.
that this time the last year, Jason and Matt both had no beard whatsoever. And so they were perfectly clean shaven. And now they have full, yeah, a little ridiculous. Now that you have professionalism and the freeze tag champion of Tech Bar on the scene, I'm going to go drop off for another Rejection Con supporter, Scalepad, joining Luis Giraldo for his podcast.
Oh,
He's
that's
a great podcast host. Enjoy that. He was
Yeah,
here
he's
just a little bit ago.
Awesome. See you guys later. Bye.
See you, Ray.
Direct.
I'm
We
gonna
were just
sneak off
talking
too.
about diversity. Megan, you should come back and join us again so you can help us.
I know. I'm
readjust.
staring at it's a room full of white guys. Like we.
Oh boy.
We have a problem.
Yes. Yes. Matt and John, how are you guys both?
Oh, I don't want to go first, John. How about you?
Oh man, I am doing great. I won't take it personally that Ray had a drop as soon as I jumped on. That's okay.
I would.
It's great to see you guys. I am psyched. I am psyched about next week. Obviously, I'm also psyched about MSP GeekCon and seeing all you people relatively soon.
Hey,
So yeah,
this time we need something spicy, so we can see it in person.
I still have a whole bunch of the like now banned and like illegal one ship challenge
Man,
ships.
it would be an uphill battle to get me to do the chip again. But if you would do it, I would probably do it.
How about like a hot ones or something? That'd be a blast. I'd be in for a hot ones.
Yep.
I do.
Dave, you can lead it, Dave.
I'm a big baby when it comes to spices, so like, sure, I will lead that one. Ask ever increasingly difficult questions while you guys eat hot sauce. That's
Fair. That works.
I think you'd be perfect for that. You'd be a great moderator for that.
I'm always up for a little fun. Always up for it.
Megan's back.
What's up, Megan? Matt, how are you? What's going on with you?
I'm recovering from being sick. If I'm candid, I've been fighting up and down being sick for like 2 weeks. Jason, sorry if you have a tickle in your throat. That was me.
I'm good.
Good, fantastic. Just nobody else then. Yeah,
we killed that with alcohol for sure.
Yeah, we did definitely try to burn that down with alcohol in New Orleans for sure. But no, I'm recovering. I'm doing well. I actually just had kind of one of the most horrifying but gratifying kind of moments. I just unleashed my working group vision for about 70 people showed up for that kickoff call of various different professional backgrounds. I mean, we had the CIO of the state of Illinois, a bunch of different people wanting to try to solve this challenge. And nobody called me more than just like idiot. Like it didn't go above that level of you're stupid. So like, I think I won. No, it was a lot of people were behind it. We pointed out some of the real pragmatic challenges that will be with what we're trying to accomplish. But I do think I've got a good 30 or 40 people that are going to join in for 6 hours each to help build a set of questions to figure out how things map to CIS. Phyllis Lee even showed up and told me how she had tried before and failed, and she'll be there to console me when I fail. So she.
I was about to say words of hope do not start with Phyllis Lee tried and failed.
Yeah, no, they don't.
For me. I'm not touching it. If she can't do it, there's no way I can.
Yeah, 100%. It's a fool's errand. I digress.
I'm glad you're starting to feel better.
The proof is here how hard we all work on Fridays. Managed services companies, as we're all just on a random Friday. Wes sends out an email and is like, "Hey guys, could you join me on a live
read only Friday?"
And we're just all here, like we're working super hard.
The difference is they make up for it on Mondays, right? When all the fires are burning. So
I am multitasking.
I got an eye
while
on
we're
something
talking
over here.
While
We
we're
were
talking, I'm
multitasking
reading
over
a
here.
stock Q report because it's a nail biter.
we were multitasking over here in a Slack channel, and I was sharing images with Wes of the last time we all got together for a charitable event, just like the World Tech Fund
Oh
thing that we're
God, not
supporting
real.
now. Oh
Not
yeah,
real. Not
they are
real
real. And Matt,
pictures.
I
Not-
have a before and after of you and
Oh,
I hanging
no,
out.
bro.
Yeah.
I
Are you
can't
gonna
see it.
are have you been to enough therapy sessions that this?
I
can be
think I'm
broadcast
okay
on the
now,
internet?
but there
All
was
right.
a time I would have answered no.
I feel like I
yeah.
can see the photos. I need to know.
Oh,
I am
God.
desperately trying to find my Slack window.
Here, there's a
So
whole
bad.
Google album
It wasn't
of
meant to be.
Hold
Is
on,
this
I'll
when
find.
beards disappeared, or is this
Oh
when some
God.
other
Yeah.
Yep.
things?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
IT
sure
Nation
of it.
last year when
Yeah,
Matt
there's a
led the
whole,
charge to raise a bunch of money.
Yeah, we
I'm
raised
just going yellow
a
mode.
good amount. A good amount.
See, this is my Friday no calls day, so I have a little bit more flexibility. Like I
There you go.
don't book
Yeah.
any calls on a
Oh,
Friday.
there's
That
the
beard though,
before.
I miss it so much.
That's the most facial hair I've ever had, and I will never do that again. Like 3 days later, I'd be like, "Oh, this is what I had for lunch on Tuesday." Yeah,
Oh,
that's
well,
Chris
part of the
Roberts level
benefit,
right there,
actually.
man.
I don't know how
Yeah,
you
that
guys
was
do
up
that.
there.
Yeah, actually, it's very Chris Roberts.
It was. It's gonna get there again, but it was.
How about that?
Whoa!
Look at that.
Who's
Wow.
that?
Yeah, I don't
Who
know
are
those
those two
guys.
Definitely
guys?
never shave again.
I don't know.
Right?
Oh, that's great.
I need
Oh
the
my
beard to hide
God.
my double chin.
My
but,
dog wouldn't even kiss me, y'all. Like I came home, my dog wouldn't even give me a kiss. I was like, this is bad. This is real bad.
Beards are for men what makeup is for women.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a
100%.
true
It's
story.
never happening again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
it's
grew
never-
that back in like no time. That
All
took
it
you,
really
like,
proves
what
is
I
I'm a
think.
bad negotiator because I clearly made it like a Faustian bargain to get this to grow back that much. Like I clearly sold my soul,
Mhm.
and I didn't get the eyes fixed. I didn't get the hair back on the head. So like it
Well,
really just
priorities.
solidifies how bad of a negotiator. I need somebody to help me out. I need an intervention. But
There's
yeah, no,
definitely
it
like a
grew back
look.
quick.
That must be look, guys.
Is
how
there-
much? How much money did you guys raise for that? It was a
I
lot.
think-
You guys did
I think the total was $220,606.
freaking amazing.
Was the total amount we raised?
That's
in-
very
in-
exact, Matt.
Yeah.
I know he
Yeah.
thinks it's a very exact amount.
Well, I mean, he just has to
It's
look at
fair.
the tattoo he's got now.
Okay,
yeah.
so like a window into my brain. It's because the last donation was $20,000 of an in-kind house that was going to sell, and that means its variance could have been 19.4, it could have been 21, and I don't have final data on it. So I'm saying 22606 final answer, at least as I understand it. So
That might be the most that has been raised in the channel. I'm pretty sure.
It was a
Over
big
quarter
one.
million.
it was a big one.
That's pretty crazy.
It was a big one. It wasn't quite over, but it was up there. It was close to a quarter.
Well,
Yeah.
was that for like Movember?
It was stupid. It came out of nowhere. I not to rehash this, but Ian Richardson and Carrie Richardson, I think, had a secret plan to like destroy beards.
Yes, that was 100%.
That is
There was
this
some hate
It had nothing to do with
like,
charity. It had
yeah, this
everything to do
turned
with
into charity.
beard.
And they asked me how much it would take them to pay me to cut my beard. And I told him, I was like, my former boss, Tony Miller, has already gone down this road. And I told him there's not an amount. And he said, what about charity? And I said, well, it have to be a big number. And like, what's a big number? Well, 100 grand. And so that's how it literally was born. And then we just had this like, I put out a post one day on Facebook, and 1, 2, 3, 4 of the people here were part of that, right? Or I think 3, yeah, were part of responding to that instantly and going, yeah, done. We'll shave our beards. And I didn't expect people to say yes to that. And then you get into enough names and enough publicity and enough of the right magic moments, I guess is the best way to describe it, that came together for it to like happen. And we came to the conference at 100,000. And I think we raised 120,000 at the conference. It's like literally we had people handing over $500 or, hey, I'll give away this drone if you guys will donate $1,000. Like it was just so stupid. It was amazing. Yeah. but
Absolutely
yeah.
amazing. It was cool. And I sent that
And now
message
y'all
to
are
Matt.
doing this year. So
I sent that message to Matt, and then I was
Matter
like,
of
damn,
fact,
I have to
this
make sure I
drone-
can grow a beard first. Like it was only like this long.
Yeah.
But
That's where some of the
no,
best
that-
things happen is just out of the blue like that though, right?
and that's where
So-
RejectionCon came from, right? We got
Yep.
Dustin Bolander going, somebody should do something, Wes, about all these rejected talks that are coming through from the
yeah.
channel.
Hold on, if we're gonna talk about
sharing screenshots in Slack of our rejections from IT Nation, and everybody's just like, "My talk was badass. What happened?" And then we were ruminating on like why it happens and how the sponsors get slots that are essentially bought and paid for, and then don't talk about their topic. And how frustrating that is when you're attending a conference and you like get pumped up to go to a session because the topic seems interesting, and you show up and you're like, oh cool, it's another pitch for Kaseya. I'm not saying a name.
There's
Yeah.
pay to play in the channel. Who
I'm not
said
allowed-
something?
Yeah.
But
I'm not
the real
tackling
talk
this.
here, though. If we're going to talk about Dustin, we should talk about the fact that he raised a security incident that he found a Screen Connect instance on his parents' computer, and then was later told by security that it was his own instance.
Beautiful. It was the best.
Oh, no.
That's pretty good. I hadn't heard that one yet.
He's never told me this before.
Yeah, right.
It literally
This
just
was
happened
today.
today.
Oh, it was today?
Yeah, he's like, I need to report a malicious
no.
Screen Connect instance.
That's
and
amazing.
I tagged, the community, Nick, the community manager, and he was like, email this, and I'll get eyes on it. And then he replied back later. Turns out that was mine.
Turns
unless there's
My
another
business
hacker.
is not secure at all. Everyone on this call could hack it.
Probably.
It does have a GUID in the installer, like in WMI. Just never mind. Yep, it's fine.
Don't go there.
Okay, fair.
Let's not on this call.
It's fair. It's fair. I digress.
Audience too large.
Okay, touche. I digress.
Oh, that's great. Alex,
Oh,
no
Alex, you
worries.
have real work to do?
Not real work, like pretend work, but I'm going to step away and do some pretend. But when I come back, I'm bringing back one of our RejectionCon speakers. I'm going to go meet with him for a half
Nice.
hour real quick. And then,
There you go.
then I'm
I
bringing back
literally
Teddy
left
and
to
we're going to
go to
talk
a
about
podcast
his,
interview and
his
came
stuff.
back.
Yeah, there we go.
Sweet.
All right.
So I'm going to come back to this. I want to ask a question to Jonathan. John, you guys have been some of the best community players, especially from a large vendor that's been out there. Would love to just kind of hear your thoughts on Rejection Con and kind of what captured you guys from the Ninja and just a John perspective too. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I remember, well, first of all, yeah, like I'm a member of the Slack where I saw early ideation of this. It's just such a cool concept. It made me think about a conversation I had with Kyle Hanselman from Huntress early on when I first joined Ninja, and I reached out to Kyle and I was asking him about the channel overall because it was new to me, and we were talking about the types of marketing that are effective and what really vendors could do to help out MSPs. And he said a couple of things. The first was like an ounce of like marketing that MSPs can use themselves versus what you're trying to do is like worth a pound of other stuff. So help them, give them materials that they can actually use. And then the other thing he was saying was, for conferences, like he would love to see it get to a point where like events and conferences, MSPs got to the point where they could run their own. And they didn't need a vendor to put it up for it. And it's been really cool to see like MSP GeekCon come out of that. And even some other conferences that are vendor, sponsored or put together go down the path of getting out of the way, basically. Like, let's make it happen, but let's get out of the way because there's so many great voices and so much good experience with the operators, MSP operators themselves, and we see all these great community spaces that have sprung up. People just want to help each other. People have really valuable experiences and expertise to share. Let's get out of the way, get the agendas aside, and really put that at the forefront. And so I think that that's something that Wes, you and Alex and Kyle have really, you're doing that here too, right? Like you're giving the platform for folks who are sharing talks that are fantastic, but for whatever reasons, they may not fit into the agendas that everyone has when they're putting on a big show, right? And so seeing that was happening, of course, definitely want to support it, get involved.
I love it.
I'd love to see MSPs learn how to do that into their own ideal audiences. Don't get me wrong. I love the MSP community behind the scenes, seeing us all network with each other. But like, if you could replicate that into your own niche, think of the revenue potential.
I've seen it, right, Megan? Like you call out a great point. I've been on, I think, 6 different ones this year where MSPs in general just have this ad hoc. I'm going to have an MSP event for my clients, for my prospects. Speaking of one of those smart folks, anyways, for my MSP clients and prospects. And then what they'll do is bring in guest speakers. Now, a lot of it's been vendor sponsored. Granted, our vendor also sponsored. But I spoke and just got to speak about whatever I wanted to speak about. And it was fantastic. And what's cool about it is the worst attended one was one in Texas, and only 3 people, 3 different companies, it was about 12 people total, showed up, right, of this whole thing. So he's put on all this cost, he's had lunches, he's all these things, and only a few showed up. Out of that, he gained 30,000 in recurring revenue.
I was just gonna say,
One
like,
giant deal.
3 companies
Yeah,
and one of them's actually your target.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I've
Yep,
done those
exactly.
too. Like the guys out at My Tech Partners in Minnesota do a really significant
Sure.
one for their customers, and it's grown over the past sort of decade and stuff. Where it's an actual like huge thing, and they bring in several other competitors, and they all work together. And
Yeah.
I've spoken there a couple of times, and it's all two customer facing versions of that, Maggie. So it's to their customers, leveraging all of that expertise, but to drive business to the MSPs themselves. And I would second that and counsel, like, hey, some MSPs, you want to make sure you're spending a lot of that marketing time outward facing to your communities, to your local community, to the people that buy from you. That's where you want to spend
100%.
more of your time. Everyone focus there.
Yeah, I mean, I've often wondered, looking for examples of this too. Like, are there any MSPs that are doing like vertical specific, like podcasts or shows or streams that like aren't focused on tech so much, but also like,
Oh yes.
Looking for
Yeah,
more
we're
stuff
with
like
a
that.
couple that do, since we got involved, and we're like, listen, it's great that you can talk tech, but your clients don't care. Like they want you to know tech well enough so that they feel safe with you, that you know better than they do. But when you get lost down in the weeds with them, they just get confused. You have to pick up the other subjects that they care about and speak to that. We've had a lot of success supporting a local company here in niching down into legal and doing events for legal that aren't just focused on the tech. Like, yes, the tech is there, but they're talking, more specifically about like DMS systems and how to pick the right one for you, and not just like shoving cybersecurity down everybody's throat. Because I think small business owners are sick of hearing about it, to be honest.
I just did a show last week on Friday, or maybe it was I don't remember, at some point Friday ago, about verticalization. And it was because I went to this thing called TitleCon. It was down in Miami. It's a MSP called Premier One, and they bring in only title companies and closing agents. Like that's their jam. They work with, that's it. And that's predominantly who they work with. And it was really cool because they brought in like things that mattered to them, to your exact point, right? Megan, it's stuff that mattered to them that drove their business. And it was stuff like, at some point they had on the stage a guy from or two of the people from this one insurer saying, hey, if companies don't have a good cyber posture in the closing agent business, we're going to go from 30% revenue to 20% revenue. And we're going to cut that. Like, how more powerful to get people to move action is their revenue source going, you're going to get 20% commission instead of 30% commission 2 years from now. Like, all right, let's get moving. So anyways, to your point, it drives that by that verticalization.
Yeah, and
so
vertical
valuable.
specialization is not a requirement for best-in-class performance, but it is correlated. That we often see higher performers have gone deep in a particular specialty.
Or multiple.
Yeah, exactly. Or multiple, but oftentimes it starts with one, right? Because you've got to build a practice area around
100%.
it. So when people ask me, like, I'll point out the data tells me that if I find a provider that has engaged in that, they are much more likely to be getting best-in-class performance.
Oh, 100%.
And
it's not so much like the back end is that different. You're giving them the same cybersecurity standards, regardless of the compliance issues you're facing.
Right.
But when you're speaking to them, whether it's through sales or through marketing, you're speaking to the things that matter to them, and you're speaking their language, and that makes them so much more likely to want to buy from you. Like if I go into like a civil engineering company and I talk to them about cybersecurity, they're literally just like, it's never happened to me. It's never happened to anyone I know or care about. I'm not paying you that money for that. But if I come in and I'm like, listen, this is what's happening with the compliance in your space. CMMC is being pushed out to subcontractors through ISO 27001. Are you prepared for that? When was the last time someone looked over your cyber liability insurance? Like, that conversation results in selling cybersecurity. And I didn't talk about cybersecurity.
Interestingly, I've started talking to providers that are not even doing the traditional managed services at all, are only focusing on like line of business applications and specializations. A couple of weeks ago, I had on the pod an MSP that positions themselves as insurance technology and only focuses on what he calls insurtech, and those are the business layer technologies that help drive the insurance business. and he outsources all of the general managed services security stuff to another provider because he looks at it as a commodity. And I've not interviewed for the show yet, but was just talking to a provider who specializes entirely in AR VR implementations and calls themselves the first managed services provider for XR implementations. And again, just focusing on that particular set of use cases. And it's not just arcades. The second major use case was businesses that need lots of desktop space, but have limited physical space, that either their people are working or they need to be able to do, they have office spaces that are not very large, but need to be able to provide lots of desktop space. XR and AR type solutions do really interesting there. And they don't do any of the general managed services kind of stuff, just specialize in the technology. So it's interesting to see providers appearing that are now only that verticalized MSP versus the generalist.
I think with remote work happening too, and being able to do so much of your support remotely, if a company doesn't need a local person, if you niche, you can go a lot farther than just being like, I specialize in small businesses nationwide. Okay.
Right.
That's no, you don't. You can't the term specialize actually means something. You're misusing the word.
I always my customers are everyone with money.
You want.
No, that's come on. That's not a good specialization, everybody.
I'm always like,
money.
Don't just
Mine's
niche
about breathing.
again. Niche again. I was in B2B tech for a long time, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to niche deeper into that. And the more you niche down, the more money comes, especially for MSPs, because what you do, it's not that different. And I think it's great that we have so many vendors in the channel, and that they're all, talking about the vendor being the differentiator between MSPs. But for the actual end user, it's really not, because they don't care what your cybersecurity tech stack is. They just care that what you're doing and they can trust you to handle it for them. So the differentiator really becomes how well do you know their space, and how good are your people? Who do I have to talk when I put in a ticket? Is there some grumpy asshole that yells at me, or no? I don't want anybody to yell at me because I'm stupid.
Oh man, I'm totally making grumpy asshole as a service.
Right?
As long as it starts with $99.
That's how you know they know their stuff.
There's a market for everything.
Certainly. I mean, if you're in Massachusetts, I think it's
True.
expected. What would we do if my IT guy was nice to me?
Yeah, that's suspicious.
I think the other thing, that you're speaking towards in general, and Dave, you kind of touched on it and said it once or twice, but there is a general commoditization of the MSP and what we do from a tech perspective. If you fire up Angry Birds, how many, I love that Bob's just seen the messages we're having here, but how many times if you fire up Angry Birds out of 100, does Angry Birds not fire up? Is it 0? It's going to be 0. Yeah. As we move down this very high SaaS consumption, identity centric model of what companies are starting tomorrow, and most of your consuming SMB, you're in a world where most of what we do is a scriptable commodity. We can make it work X way with this kind of predictable results and deal with it in the same way. And even to your point on help desk, Megan, there aren't stupid questions, because the help desk is taking the same exact answer on how Okta is having problems, or how Microsoft AADJ or AAD is having issues, or Entra, or whatever they want to call it next Thursday. But at the end of the day, you get to this world where that commoditization means MSPs have to find other ways to add value in the business.
You're saying it even nicer, Matt. I mean, Microsoft and Apple will both sell you a perfectly acceptable version of managed services, and I don't know, running Windows through Microsoft, that seems pretty logical to me.
I will certainly recuse from that part of the statement, Dave, just for purposes of where I come from.
But I can say, Matt, that's why I'm happy saying it, is I'll observe.
I love you for that.
There's offerings from Microsoft where you can add it on to your Windows 365 M365 offering. It's a perfectly acceptable market solution.
Yeah.
And that tells me there's commoditization in those
That's
bases.
correct.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
the point.
And so the answer is, how do you go forward in the, you and I both agree
Yeah.
on a statement of like, how do you move forward in that ultimate commoditization? I think it has to be in getting deeper into their business and being able to actually help move the needle with technology solutions, like knowing how they make money and how they move concrete trucks and what their challenges are and how they're going to need to upgrade. And in some cases, if you take that vision forward, it means, and this is where some people could disagree with me, but if you take that vision forward and someone was to say, if I start a company tomorrow, I have none of the brownfield burden that you do. I get to start with this now, this way, the way I want
We
to
were
do
just
it.
talking about
How do
that.
you deal with that? And MSP, yeah, we have. And MSPs, your job is to now convert them and educate them to survive with their existing mass and inertia with those changes that are necessary. And so I think what we're all speaking towards is this ultimate shift of what our value statement is to much more consultative, much more deep and ingrained in understanding. And some of the answers are verticalization. Some of the answers are better processes and things that need to exist in our world. But yeah, anyways,
well,
I'll get
I'll end because I'm going to drop here in a second, but I'll actually sort of sum this up because I actually don't think the core value of what IT solution providers has changed at all in 20 years, because I'll describe it as helping customers with their technology decisions and being effective in business. And so I kind of push back when everybody goes, oh, we're changing business models. Oh, we're changing value trap. No, if you've been really focused on that core statement for 20 years, and gray hairs can show it, like I've been selling the same stuff for 20 years, but if you focus on helping a customer with their technology decisions, that core value has not changed. How we do that has changed. What the technology we're using has changed.
How
like
much
all
plate
of that
spending is involved in that.
Yeah,
That'll all change.
and all to Megan's point of like, people don't care about speeds and feeds. They care about like, hey, what does this technology do for my business? And if you're good at that
100%.
advice, you will always have a job.
There's a quote from Jeb Blunt's "People Buy You" that is, people don't buy from people they like, but they don't buy from people they don't like. So just because someone likes you, it doesn't mean they're going to buy from you. But if they don't like you, they certainly aren't. And so like just being likable is kind of like the very baseline, and likability is different to everybody. So if you truly nail your ideal audience and you understand like what do they think likable looks like, to Bob's point, and to, like, grumpy asshole as a service absolutely could sell to people.
Hey, if that's what somebody wants.
That's what they want, and there's I think there's the proof is in the pudding in the number of MSPs that are out there, that there is plenty of need to go around and differentiation to go around. And I think, to your point, Dave, like the industry the core of it has not changed, but the way people make decisions has a little bit. And so we just kind of have to shift with them and understand what their priorities are instead of focusing so much on what ours are. And like, I see the back end of the technology a lot, all day, every day. And like, you guys are awesome when you nerd out and Slack in the back channels. And I'm just like, you're so technical and you're so smart, but you have to be able to kind of dumb that down to your client and their actual like knowledge base, because otherwise you're really going to lose them in the weeds of what you're saying. Like, I trust that you're good. And the other thing I think that's changed so much in the technology space is that the bare minimum is good enough now. Like, everything is so far above what we actually need. Like, my computer that's sitting in front of me is more than I will ever actually use, both for business and personal. And that's kind of the evolution of technology. So trying to sell people things they don't need can backfire a lot of the time.
Yeah. I will say that
you guys have fun.
I will say that technology will, or the use of resources will expand to consume all of the available way overkill over time, because developers get like, not lazy is the wrong word, but they use
ambitious.
No, they use languages that provide them shortcuts, but those shortcuts come with efficiency. I mean, there's a reason, like, by all means, Office should start in a fraction of a second, because it actually takes longer to start now than it did in like 1995 on a Pentium 233, right? Like, that doesn't necessarily make any sense, But the what over time, what happens is we change paradigms, we change language models, and all sorts of other things that, in theory, make things safer, but they come at the cost of efficiency.
And Megan, I was going to say, it sounds like you don't have enough tabs open.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could like share screen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can share screen with you guys. Like, look at.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Be OPSEC. Be OPSEC.
Yeah. You want to see your CPU? Just open up about 700 little tabs with all those URLs under those tabs. Watch Chrome suck the actual life out of your device.
The number of pages, it's insane.
Oh, that's nothing. That's amateur hour.
Yeah.
I have
I'm sorry,
4
Megan.
windows open, each of which has more tabs than that.
Don't show that. Don't show that to anybody, Megan. That's embarrassing. I wouldn't show that.
Not that many tabs. All right.
Yeah. No,
that's
kind of a rounding error, is what that is.
Well, I have multiple Chrome instances open with that many tabs because they're segmented by the client I'm working on.
Different.
Yeah.
Different. You got to use one, and you got to max it out.
We're all like tab hoarders. Some people, this guy went and bought another 16 gigs of RAM just for all the Brave tabs.
Has anyone? Is there a limit?
There's no physical limit.
500 or 600 tabs open across my browser windows.
There's a practical limit.
Yeah.
There's no physical limit. The tabs aren't the problem. It's the 7 million URLs under each tab.
Yeah, no, the tabs aren't the problem. If any of them are Outlook, Facebook, or LinkedIn, that's the problem because that will eventually consume all of the RAM on your computer or Gmail.
Yes. They're like my ex-wife. They'll expand to meet all available space. That's exactly right.
Is there a session on how Kevin makes the jerky? There should be.
There should be.
I don't
like a whole session.
You guys
just on jerky making.
I don't. You guys have been talking about this, but
that's ancient Chinese. If I can get that away.
Kevin, your tin can and string needs some work.
Yeah, it does.
I'm outside.
Yeah.
I spent the last 2 hours working out.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll move closer to the house.
I don't know. You guys are all on top of this, but the bottom line is our industry is no different than any industry out there when it comes to commoditization innovation. This is nothing new, right? This happens to absolutely every industry out there, and it's certainly always been the case.
It's on the maturity curve, right?
Is when you get as old as I have, you've seen waves upon waves upon waves of these different technologies that have come into play, right? Which all had to be, all had to be adopted or adjusted to be able to be something practical for for end users to get some value out of it. That's our life from the get-go, right? That is what we do. We take all that really hard technical crap that nobody cares about but us nerds, and we try to convert that into energy for regular companies to use to create value. That is what we do. That we're kind of.
I love that term, energy to help them create value.
Yeah, because that
right, like this is the blood sugar you need to survive.
Yeah,
right?
The sooner you embrace the fact that is what we are. And all these technology shifts, cybersecurity is just another wave of technologies, right? And we're already seeing commoditization in that ecosystem, right? We already see EDR.
Well, it's not hard to commoditize, like make your bed and brush your teeth.
No,
right?
that's
at some point we need to do the basics, and then we'll be a lot better off in cybersecurity. Ultimately, all right.
But you can see that's going to happen, right? We can all feel that that's going to happen. We can see it moving that way. To where it's, those lower end things are all going to get commoditized, and they're not going to be something you're going to be able to differentiate yourself with. So you better have an eye toward innovation and an innovation process to continually be looking for the kinds of things that help build value for your organization. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, but certainly in our industry, you got to do that. So,
I love that Kevin has mastered that, like, that CSI Miami kind of look of pulling off the sunglasses and being like, I'm Kevin, and I'm here to talk about RejectionCon.
But which is what we're supposed to be talking about, right? Right. That's what.
That's right. Bringing us back to the point.
Yeah. So that's.
Oh, Alex is back. We have to behave now. He really meant it. He was coming back.
Right, because I'm the one around here that keeps people in line.
Is there someone who does that? Because if so, I have not met them yet.
That was my old business partner.
Yeah, I was going to say
those folks. Yeah,
Megan, you still haven't. You still haven't met anybody yet.
I thought you were going to bring someone on. Oh, it looks like you are. There we are.
There
Teddy, what's going on?
What's up? Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Hey, Teddy.
We've been very above board, very polite, and very on topic today, Teddy.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Beers aren't allowed in the call.
Oh, someone
no, not at all. Zero.
Earlier. I don't know who it was.
I want a beer.
What are you drinking? What is it?
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, what are you drinking? What is that?
Honestly, I don't know. It seems a bit like an Oktoberfest, maybe a Christmas ale, but
That's all they just take one of the random drinks someone gives you.
Yeah.
Nothing can go wrong.
oh yeah.
Works out well.
This is how I know there's a major difference between women and men, because women would never.
Well, come on, he's in his office. It's like somebody.
I don't know. It's a random pint.
Just trying to get from point A to point B, you know.
From point A to point B.
So
Oh, that's
Wes,
great.
you'll be excited about this. I may have shifted the topic of my talk slightly, so sorry.
After all those votes,
I mean, isn't that what every vendor does? Like, we lured you in with one topic, and then we talk to you about another.
So long as it's not
just to get elected, just to get those votes, and now you're switching it up.
Wow.
Not delivering. I see.
Well, arguably, this
That's hard
topic's a little bit more. It's probably would have gotten. The old one was very like boring, and I'm hoping that this is going to be just one big metaphor.
Oh,
So-
now you gotta tell us what you got
One
going.
big metaphor. Yeah, I like the sound of this.
I can get into it if you want me to.
Might as well.
So essentially, I try to like just living with my family and stuff like that, and my background is in penetration testing. So trying to explain what that is has always been very difficult. So I always had to explain everything in metaphor to just about everyone. So my metaphor is, penetration testing is not something that everyone should have done all the time, right? Like it's something that it's like a health checkup. It shouldn't be used to drive risk or to drive risk management or anything like that. It's something that should be done to, just once a year. It's like, hey, is my program holding up, right? Or what gaps have I had? How it's a benchmark that you're trying to continue to improve upon. So I am correlating it to going to the doctor's office, right? Like your yearly checkup. That, assuming that you're doing exercise, you're exercising, eating right, taking care of your mental health and sleeping properly, you're doing those things throughout the year. And then you move that over into actually like going to the doctor and seeing are those things working, right? Where are we missing on that? So same basic topic, but just changing how I'm presenting it, which is probably why I got rejected at all those places. It was boring.
So that's while you're talking, I don't know if I can find this quickly, but I did a talk on this a while back. The National Academies had done this research with like what they call the diagnostic process. And if I can find it quickly, I'll show you. Because what they did is they sort of mapped like what's the health journey of a patient. And they even started with like before they come in. So things like talking to like, oh, my knee hurts. And they talk to their mom or they talk to their buddy or they whatever. Oh, you should go and see a healthcare professional. So they kind of map the entire journey from that stage all the way through the ultimate goal, which is expected positive outcomes. They kind of track the whole thing. And when you watch it, it's exactly what you said. It's like, this is exactly how we should be mapping our processes with clients and potential clients. What are we doing at the very beginning when they're saying things like, man, I hate my IT, I hate my whatever, to where they start to think about maybe you should go see a professional that actually does this kind of stuff, into what's the assessment process look like? How do we actually turn that into treatment plans, in good to positive outcomes, but even coming back again into, hey, this outcome didn't quite realize and hit where we want. Let's go back and look at the plan again and look at the testing that we had in place and redo this diagnosis. It's really powerful and it really brings this whole thing to life.
Totally. Yeah. I think I like the healthcare field comparisons because it's cyber health. I think it, and it's something that everyone can relate to. So
yeah, here it is. I found it. I'll share this real quick. Let me share this. Yeah, look at this bad boy right here. It's really, really cool.
Oh, yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah, it's a neat way to sort of like, I really think you can take this and map everything you do at your MSP to this and begin to understand, where gaps.
I think you need
and
to full screen
deficiencies.
that and get rid of our ugly mugs here.
Do I know how to do that?
I don't know. I feel like you can,
You
right?
can click
Is there a
around.
thing? Is there some buttons?
Maybe this. I bet this will do
There
it.
you go.
There it is. Bingo.
Hey, now we can read words.
Woohoo. Yeah, Bob, you were in on that when I talked about it. What did you think about it?
No, I mean, I think this is really, when you speak of analogies and how to really look at how to view these processes or the process of going through evaluating these things. This was great, right? I mean, these medical analogies work really well because in reality, that is what we do a lot. We're working on the health of an organization from from our angle. And so, yeah, I thought it was a really great way to kind of break these things down and be able to compare, what the practical tactics are when you're working with a company to figure out their health, and then what the health practitioners do, which is follow the same basic flow, right? I mean, it's diagnostics, it's all those things. Yeah, I thought it was great.
I think the only downside, if I could be Debbie Downer on this one, is that it doesn't actually talk about the rest of the life cycle, right? It talks about I'm injured, I need to heal, and I'm back. It doesn't speak towards the growth, the remainder of it. This would be as if after you exit this treatment plan, you're now meeting with a health counselor, you're now meeting with someone to continue your growth and somebody to help you talk about what your future goals are. And I think that's one piece that is missing, but you're right on that response and healing aspect of it. I would agree completely. Well, Burger
That's
King's here,
awesome.
so yeah,
I
I
was looking
digress.
at it and I was like, this is the buying process just for
Yeah.
healthcare.
Fair.
Yeah. That's the entry point on this is that after you experience a health problem, right? So theoretically, you have all the right prevention mechanisms in place and you're doing all your hygiene and all of that are there. This is after you actually experience something that, how do you break that down and figure out what's going on?
It's classic
But you're right.
American healthcare, though, right? It's like,
can't
let me
believe the
just go
Burger
fix
King
this thing in front of you, and then let's not worry about anything else because I'm going
Right.
to drug you up, and come back again later when this isn't working for you.
Can
And
I
honestly,
just
how
say-
many MSPs operate that way too?
I just want to say how legendary it is that not only do we have the greatest man alive wish us congratulations on kicking off Empath, and
Burger King?
the Burger King shows up for this. Like we have
Terrifying
Kyle
royalty.
we have straight
Is
up
that-
royalty here helping us fire
Is
off.
that Dave Sabell? Did Dave come back? Is that him? That's him, isn't it?
Dave is. I appreciate Dave.
No, it's
but that is
me.
not his sense of humor.
Thanks, man, because I actually like Whoppers, and that was like making me reevaluate.
Dude, it's scary, right? My
I
wife
love that you
taking
can
that
fit
off.
your
It
headphones.
was very Whopper on
Yeah,
acid.
It's so big.
What I understand is your head is so round. How did you make that thing not look round? I don't
I
understand.
know. My wife came home from a conference yesterday and she went, "We did White Elephant gift exchange, and this is what I got." And I was like, "Oh, I'm wearing
That's awesome.
wearing that on a call."
Awesome.
My wife too came home from a white elephant thing, and she came back with Snoop Dogg's cookbook, and it's kind
Oh
of
yeah, I
awesome.
saw that. Things look awesome.
Yeah.
Man, have you seen Snoop's wine bottles that have the AR?
Yeah,
to them, so you can
the
use your phone
99
and you can see
crimes.
He makes children's music now. I don't know how many of you have kids.
What
does
but
that man
he's
not
got this
do?
song called the
Yeah.
Affirmation Song, and we
talented.
listen to it on the way to school every single day.
That's awesome.
So my question about the Burger King mask, though, there was like something. What happened to the eye? Did you have to like rip that open? It looked especially horrific.
Put it back on.
Yeah,
Remask yourself.
yeah.
Will, how did you mess that mask up? That's what the man's asking. He's
Will,
just
put the mask
basically
back
asking.
on.
Oh, I can put it back on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna turn my camera off because it's gonna be scary to put it back on.
Oh, that's
Wait a minute.
scary part.
That's scary?
Definitely not terrifying at all.
No, let me. Yeah, it's not a problem, Will. Go right ahead.
Halloween's over.
TBK.
I thought we were done.
to BK. Will is a genius.
He is.
He is, man.
Oh, see, look at that! Like,
Oh,
is that the
yeah.
only way you can see.
Yeah.
It's like creased. You gotta kind of.
That's so rough.
Yeah, your eyeballs
Dude.
hanging off, buddy.
Oh, well, you get. Yeah, the holes in the mask don't line up with the actual image on it. That's what's going on. You know?
It looks better in real life.
Does it? I don't think
No,
it
it
does.
doesn't.
No, I
No, it
think you're
doesn't.
lying to yourself.
No, you're fooling yourself.
It's actually super uncomfortable. Also, it's like creased in the middle, like they had it in their suitcase, and it's just totally folded right down the center. It's great.
Time out. Someone just scanned the rejection con pass out of all this. Like, wow, we're listening to these guys talk about Burger King. I'm really interested in
That's what does
rejection
it.
con.
That's what I'm talking about.
I goes
Right,
I
right, go
My
out
kind
there,
of
free
combo.
fries.
I think that goes back. Wasn't it Megan? Megan, it wasn't you said it was a shoot the shit con. I think that was what she was saying. So there you go.
A little cybersecurity, a little bit of pen
Burger
testing,
King
a
will do
little bit
that.
of Burger King, and the Burger King gets a
Yeah.
scan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just looking at LinkedIn, Wes, and I saw something about what may have put you over the 10,000 goal, which amazing, $10,000, awesome, congrats,
Yeah.
you guys are the best. But what put you over was a rap video of some kind.
Oh yes.
I
That
don't.
was,
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
that
what
was
Oh
you're
rough
yeah.
talking
last
about.
night.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my.
There's no
You're
proof
lucky.
that was me.
I think we should
would
play
say
it
there's a
back.
high
I think
belief
it
that
should.
it
I think
was.
it should get a
So
live
lucky
stream
we
right here.
can't just run that live right here, right now, because that would be happening.
It's a good thing that we
is
can't.
happening.
Yeah,
I think
that's
Alex
not-
did. I think Alex did an AI video for
I
that.
loved it.
I
I
do
feel like
too.
we have the technology to replay that.
I
here
think you
live.
stole my name, image, and likeness, Alex. Again, it's not cool. So
I
it's
know, I
funny.
think the tonality of that video was just too on point to be fake.
Yep. It was great.
Tonality. Thank you,
was
Megan.
just
That was well
terrible.
stated.
Yeah.
It was very, very delicate there. The tonality on that song was too real to fake.
It was pretty terrible.
Actually, brilliant.
It's a very polite way of
Well
saying, Wes,
stated.
that was god awful. Don't ever. Do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It was what she was
It's starting
saying.
your LinkedIn influencer career
I thought it was awesome.
right there.
I
That's
can't
it.
wait for
You're gonna be a
RejectionCon. I gotta
LinkedIn
drop
top voice
y'all.
next year.
Later,
Yeah,
Matt.
Matt.
I'm calling it now. 2024
Wow,
is
Matt.
the year Wes Spencer becomes the LinkedIn top voice.
Well, I don't know about
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but what I do know about is I mentioned this on Slagle's post, and he mentioned this a little bit when he was on, but sometimes it's important to embarrass yourself to prove to people that like you don't like to, and to yourself that you don't take yourself too seriously. Like, and when Threat Locker dressed him up as basically a Threat Locker cheerleader for the beard shave, and then gave a bunch of money, and everyone made fun of him. Like that's what it's about right there. Like
Yeah.
no one should be above being made fun of and being sort of the picture of a joke. Especially when it's going to charity, right? So that's where I had this stupid idea of like I want to make a rap video, and I don't know what I'm doing. It's going to be awful. And my wife was like, "That's a bad idea." I'm like, "All the more reason I'm going to do it."
It was great though. I mean, I loved it. I you know what? I love the fact that you were getting tickled while you were trying to do it. That was the part that was a blast, right? It's like you were trying to stay on. You were trying to stay in mode, right? But it was just ruptured every now and then when you.
It's bad. Did you just say it? It was bad.
And so
Okay,
there's
I
no,
have
this doesn't
content
exist.
of
There's no
some
copy of
time
this.
this week of me singing along. I don't even remember what song I started singing with because the Clutch Global Awards just came out, which is a marketing thing. We won like 41 awards, so I'm scrolling through all the awards. Oh, it's We Are the Champions, and I'm singing to like We Are the Champions, and I put it in my Slack channel with my team, and they were like, "Megan, you have to schedule this to LinkedIn," and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Let's just really announce to the community how autistic I am. This will be great." Just like really publish it.
I'm not kidding, Wes. I'm trying to think of something that I can top that with, but it's going to take me a while because that was really epic.
Pull down one of those guitars, start playing for us, bub.
Right?
yeah, that might get us there quick. You're right.
Oh, it's great, Jonathan. You were going to say something. I don't.
Oh no, I was just asking if there was. So there's no recording of this anywhere.
No,
this was live.
Definitely never to be found again.
It's on LinkedIn.
I mean, is there another fundraising goal that can be hit to make you do this during RejectionCon?
Yes. Live during RejectionCon? Yeah,
there's another 10 grand.
Yeah, another 10 grand. You just don't want to. It's not worth. It's not worth the money.
It was
How
not
much do
that
we
bad.
have to pay for karaoke? Is what we're asking.
That is a great idea. We should. Someone that knows how to do the technologies, like Ray or someone, should do a karaoke kind of. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
That's a great idea.
You could have you could have a wish list, kind of like RejectionCon, right? And have it be like, I want this person to sing this song, but you have to put money where your mouth is. So like donation wise, if we could figure out how to do it like with donations, and then the people who get donations, like you're gonna not come sing the song?
That's a fantastic idea. Oh, fantastically horrible idea.
Like the Grinch.
I'm gonna be unavailable whenever that's happening.
Me too. I too have that problem. I'm queuing Jonathan up for I Will Always Love You.
Oh.
I used to voluntarily embarrass myself doing karaoke when I was younger, so it's not that bad. You just have to do a shot first, and you'll be fine.
I've heard the kind of music Alex listens to. You guys, he'll happily sing for us.
I will not sing for you. That's not going to happen.
Is it country music? I feel like it's country.
There might be a little country mixed in there.
Alex, what is your genre?
I'm all over the place, man.
It's just all bad.
That's fair. That's fair. But I listen to some country. I listen to some like Dave Matthews Band, like some like there's good Toad the Wet Sprocket. Like most of you aren't old enough to
primary
remember who
albums
they
are
are.
He's very
Kids
stuck in
Bop.
the 90s.
I am.
Yeah.
That's back when I had my youth and my good looks.
It's coming.
At
I'll come
least I
back
had my
around.
youth. Yeah.
It's a Kids Bop guy.
Kids
All
Bop.
right, guys, I gotta go and put this back to
Thanks,
being a
Megan.
full-on sausage fest.
Thanks, Megan. Well, as we're in our last few minutes, anyone else want to say anything specifically about RejectionCon and anything about it, why they're excited about it, or a message to others that are listening today and why they should get on for those that are still with us for whatever wild reason?
Say thanks to the sponsors. That was a great sponsor list.
It was a great one. We got 2 new ones that showed up today that we got to add to the website. We've got Roost and Proficio that just joined in, and now we're done. So if anyone's asking, I'm sorry, I can't get you in. We are full. But yeah, that definitely is very cool to see a bunch of vendors step up and jump into. Yeah.
It is.
Including-
Our vendors do very well in this space, and it's good to see them give a little something back to an event that lets some folks get their voices. I just want to say, if you've been watching these shenanigans and you haven't signed up yet, I'm pretty sure there's a registration right up there somewhere above that guy. Make sure you scan the QR code, follow along. Your donation can be $1, right? It doesn't, we're not out to. Obviously, we're trying to make some money for the Rural Tech Fund, but at the end of the day, we really just want to support these great speakers and let them have their voices heard. So. Someone scanned it. Somebody did what I told him to do. That never happened.
Exactly.
Wow.
I'll tell Mom thank you.
Thank you,
right.
Random Scanner. But for reals, I was just going to say quickly, we are, just in case anyone didn't hear when we said this earlier, Mike Bergard just jumped in. Mike, thank you. $50 from him. We are now at over $12,000. So 10,000 was the goal. We have hit it, and we've gone over. The 2 people that pushed it over the limit were Dave Bellini and Adam Slutskin from CyberFox, both of you. So thank you. They both went above and beyond. And I'll also show this real quick. I showed it earlier on the stream, but I just want to share it once again. This right here is kind of what we're all about. So I made a challenge page. It's rejectioncon.com/challenge. And the whole thing, Degley joined us earlier, but he really kicked it off. That guy went above and beyond. He gave $2,000. He didn't tell anybody he was doing it. He didn't ask for fanfare. I didn't even notice it for 3 or 4 days. And I think, Alex, you're the one that's like, yo, dude, Degley just put in a crap ton of money. I'm like, what? So he kicked this whole thing off. And the Rejection Con challenge is basically this. If you're someone that's a giver and you have the means to do so, give $500. And if you give $500, I will pop your name up here. There are people in this chat right here there's Bob Miller himself. And I'd love to see you on here. Not that you're doing this for the notoriety, but it's just an easy way for me to thank you. And you can do that right here. You just go to Want to Give, click on it. And the cool thing is, too, if you do that, what it's going to give you is it gives you the ability to have a pass to allow everyone at your MSP in. And hey, we've hit the goal. Like, I want more people in this than not. So use the code. There's a code called MSP Pass, all one word, MSP Pass. And that lets you in. No, sorry, I had that mixed up. It's important. That's not right. It's free MSP. It's free MSP, all one word. Use free MSP. It'll let you in for free. And I'm just saying that to everybody. We've had enough people give to get anyone in. So I really want everyone in. Don't let money be a hindrance here. The conference is going to be awesome. It's really cooking up. So free MSP. I want to see y'all there. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, from a value proposition standpoint, it's a no-brainer for us, right? I mean, so I was happy to do it. It's going to give all of our employees a chance to pick and choose the subject matter that kind of applies to them. And there's just some great sessions in there. And as somebody who creates sessions, having the ability to actually get the word out about subject matter that a lot of these conferences may not find exciting enough to put in their lineup, but which those of us that are practitioners or for enterprises that are need to know these kinds of things. It's valuable material. So, I mean, where else would that ever get heard, right? On the kind of forum that we're talking about. So, I mean, Wes will tell you 2.5 seconds after he posted it, I was banging on the door going, hey, dude, whatever I can do to help you, I'm in, right? Because it was, it is the nonconformist element in me that just loved the whole concept.
Right
being
on.
able to do something that is outside the scope of being manipulated, or I won't say manipulated, but being guided by commercial motivations, whereas this is really driven by by aspirations of helping people and giving other people voice. So what value does it has for us? It has infinite value. So I'm looking
Well
forward.
said.
I told Wes, I'm going on record now saying I honestly feel like this is going to wind up being a cult classic for us as a as a community, because this speaks right to the spirit of what it is and why it is that we do these things. So yeah, Wes, hats off to you. The only thing I hate about it is it wasn't my idea.
Bob, it's your idea as much as anyone, and you've been ridiculously helpful getting this thing set up. For those who don't know, Bob helped me with the whole voting mechanisms, get that going, let me throw a ton of ideas off his head, and help me promote. And Bob, you've been a huge piece of this thing from the get-go and never asked for a single thing other than just let me help. So thank you.
Happy to be.
You know what I think is cool too is to your point, Bob. A lot of times when you so something like this, right? RejectionCon-a-Thon. That's a lot of syllables. But when you think about that, right? That's usually where these things end, where it's like, let's raise a ton of funding. We want to raise money for charity, yada yada yada. Like, that's awesome and that's so good because you're helping people. And then it's like, oh, the con-a-thon's over, and thanks for all your support and your help. But now, because of your support and your help, you actually get to go and benefit your own business. So it's really cool that you're giving, but then you're also getting something that's going to ultimately help you as an MSP owner. And to me, that's actually a really cool benefit. To your point, Bob, it's not going to corporate ladders, and it's not going to raising a ton of, just making a corporation larger or whatever. It's literally going to helping someone, and you're going to be able to learn how to grow your own business in return. And it's just a cool kind of play off each other kind of thing.
Oh man, I'm right there with you guys. Well said, both of you. And I would add to that. I mean, yeah, you're donating to a great cause this time of year. Obviously, we're all kind of thinking about this. How can we give back? I certainly am. And beyond that, though, Bob, you're mentioning like maybe these sessions they weren't accepted because they weren't exciting. I don't think that's true at all. Like this is a rocking agenda. This agenda is banging. There's a lot of stuff on there that's just really solid that I think would stand up against any other conference you put out there, really. There's a lot of really great topics and speakers out here. So you get to do good, but you also get to get. It's going to be a great event for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And the coolest thing about the platform we're using, when we do this in Crowdcast, these will be recorded and saved forever. So if you sign up, you can go back and see if there's competing sessions that you are afraid you're not going to be able to see on the agenda because two of your favorite speakers are at the same time. You can go back and catch the recording for one of them that you couldn't catch live. So just pay attention to that too.
Yeah, I was going to say that non-exciting talk. I was referring to mine. That's all I was referring to.
Did I missee? There's Voldemort joining. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say their name, but
let's get this back. Kevin, did you call Kevin Voldemort just for the record?
No, I was saying these had they who shall not be named on the list of.
People. I was going back and forth on. It took me a while to arrive at us to kind of get the last, so I can actually spoil it now. So the ending kind of keynote last thing is really going to be the last thing is a looking forward thing. So what is 2024 going to look like for us as MSPs? And so brought a couple folks on, two of them that I can share. The third, I'm waiting for confirmation. So one of them is Matt Lee. The other is Wayne Selk from CompTIA. So excited about both of them kind of joining us for a discussion on what is the future going to look like. I'll just say it. The third person I asked is a really good friend of mine, Mackenzie Brown from Blackpoint. So I'm hoping she can join as well. Have not had a confirmation back yet. I know she's been busy. So no pressure, Mac.
Good pressure.
I'm sure the Burger King can fill in if she can't. So Burger King's really good at giving.
You have to fix that eye first. Can we get him an eye patch? Maybe we can get him an eye patch.
Yeah. Prosthesis.
That's awesome. It's awesome. All right, my friends. Well, thanks for joining me for the RejectionCon-a-Thon. It was super fun. Those of you that enjoyed and watched us and laughed at us, hope you had a good time. We really do want to see everyone here at RejectionCon. Make sure you sign up. We're getting really, really close to all the numbers we wanted to see, and we've hit and blown out the financial numbers, which is awesome. So the last thing is let's get in on this. Don't hesitate. Jump in. If you haven't joined yet, you can join for free. Just use the code FREEMSP. There's been enough vendors and enough MSPs that have stepped into the gap and said we're going to cover the minimums, so we're there, and it's time for you to jump in. And there's no reason not to.
Awesome.
All right, everyone.
All
I'm going
right.
to cue some awesome music back up before we hit it.
Yeah,
and
hit the rap song. Hit the rap
That's
song.
right, baby. I like that one. Let's get a better one. Wait till we have some consensus and some good music.
No, it's good.
That'll work.
Good as
Not as
any
good as the
color.
Wes Spencer rap. I'm just saying.
No, yeah, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'll be jamming out to
Yeah,
that
no
in my
evidence
car a little
that
bit
that
later.
ever
dude.
happened.
Really excited for next week, guys.
In light of that, Alex, you're the first one I'm kicking out. Get out.
Let's see you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
See y'all.
See you next week.